All right, welcome back. I got a special edition video for you guys out of my home office. Today we're going to be talking about the basics of equations. So this is a special quarantine edition. So I got my gear on, my protective gear. So first thing I want to do is talk to you guys about some vocabulary. So these are the basic things, and we're talking about this now so that when you start in the fall next year, some of this stuff is a little bit fresh for you guys. So this should be reviewed because you guys have done this in 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, a little bit this year. So now we're coming here, okay? So first thing, vocab, constant. A constant is a symbol that doesn't change. So a constant is going to be a number. Constants are numbers. Every time we've seen a number this year, it's been a constant. All right, so then we have a variable, right? A variable is a symbol that represents something changeable. And this is going to be our letters like X or Y or Z, okay? X or Y or Z. All right, expressions. Expressions are phrases that contain constants and variables with operations. So you take a variable, you take some numbers, and then you do the operations. And the operations are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. Those are your 4 operations of math, and that's what we do. So when we start dealing with expressions, we're going to PEMDAS. You guys remember PEMDAS? We do parentheses. We do exponents, multiply, divide, add, and subtract. Okay? So when do we use that? When we simplify expressions, or we're doing work on one side of the equal sign. Okay? When we're doing that. All right, now when we're evaluating expressions, this is different. Simplify, evaluate, 2 different things. When we're evaluating, we're going to substitute given numbers into an expression, and then PEMDAS. We're going to be PEMDASing it. Okay, so let's take a look at some examples here. All right, let's take a look at some examples. All right, so in this example, very basic. You guys have seen this before. What do we do first? We're going to do parentheses, PEMDAS, right? Parentheses. 7 minus 3 is 4. Okay? All right, we do parentheses, 4. Do we have exponents in this thing? We do not. Do we have multiplication? We do not. Do we have division? Yes. So we do 4 divided by 2 gives us an answer of 2. Probably the number of kids watching this video right now. Total. All right, let's check out the next one here. Do we have any parentheses? We do not. Do we have any exponents? We do not. And if you need to write this out and cross it out like that, then do it. Then do it, okay? Show your work. Write it down. It's there to help you out. All right, so do we have multiplication? Yes. What do we multiply? 2 and 6. What does that give you? That gives us 12. Do we have any other multiplication? Yes. 5 and 4. That gives us 20. We don't divide, but now we add. And when we add those 2, we get 32. We get 32, okay? All right, so that's simplifying. We do a lot of that on one side of the equal sign. Sometimes we have to evaluate expressions, okay? And this comes important in Algebra 1, which you guys are going to see in a couple months here. So we're going to be given certain values, and we're going to plug them in and then simplify it. That's what we're doing, okay? So in this case, x equals 8. So it's 8 plus y. Y is 5. 8 plus 5 is 13. Okay? 8 plus 5 is 13. A little tricky. It looks confusing, but it's not. So it's 5 times x. What's x? 8. So 5 times 8 is 40. And then we're going to divide it by y. So 40 divided by 5 is actually just 8. So it looks really hard, but it's pretty easy. Just plug in the numbers, do the math. All right, really tricky one. Not really. X plus y. So we have 8 plus 5 times 2 on the outside here, okay? So what do we do first? What does PEMDAS tell us? Parentheses, 13. We do 13 here. No exponents, but we multiply. So we do 2 times 13, which gives you 26. Okay? So that is how you simplify and evaluate. Okay, so if you need to come back to this later, you can. You can. Okay. All right, here we go. Next one. When we have expressions, we need to do some things. Now, this is something I had on the board. Let me get this out of the way so you don't get confused between my boards. Oh, no. It just fell behind my thing. Unedited video. I don't edit anything. I just record it and put it in YouTube. Raw, unedited video. Just for you guys, for your entertainment. All right, what in the world did I do here? Okay, we'll get there. All right, combining like terms. So, gotta go back to vocab, the very first minute of the video here. Combine variables with the same letter. All the x's go together, all the y's go together, all the z's go together. Whatever variables you have, you combine them. If you don't have variables of, if you only have one x, you combine it. If you don't have any y's, you don't do that. So combine variables. Then we're gonna combine constants, right? Combine constants. Oop, that's all wrong. Combine constants. So in this example here, 5x minus 2 plus 3y plus 1. What do we have in common here? How many x's do we have? We just have 5x. We don't have any other x's in that problem. Okay, so the x's are gone. All right, how many y's do we have? We just have this 3y right here. Okay, all right, so that's gone. And now we have to combine numbers. So we have a minus 2 and we have a positive 1. And that gives you a negative 1. So when you do combine like terms, that would simplify that expression for you guys. Okay, so that's just one example, and this is review. We've done this a lot. So that's just to kind of do that. Now, here is something very, 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 very important. You only do combining like terms on what I tried to write here before it fell and erased. On one side of the equal sign. You never combine like terms across an equal sign. Don't do that. All right? Only on one side of the equal sign. So next week when we get multi-step equations, you can't combine terms across equal signs. Only on one side of the equal sign. I think I said it 3 times. How many people are going to screw this up because you didn't watch it or you didn't listen? Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so let's do this one here. 3x plus x is 4x. 1 minus 4. So I got 4x over here. I have minus 3 when we combine that. Positive 1, negative 4. You had $1 and then you spent 4. You're now in debt $3. All right, and now we have that's equal to 8. And in a minute, we're going to talk about how to do that. But this part here, combining like terms, is only done on one side of the equal sign. Did you notice the 1 and the 4 and the 8 weren't combined? We didn't get 11 or 5. We didn't get 5. Why? Because we just combined on one side of the equal sign. Okay? All right. I have air conditioning, and that's not working in this house. All right, next thing we're going to do, distribution. Distribution. All right? So it's a little bit up. It's a step up above combining like terms. So distribution is used because it has parentheses. So when we do PEMDAS, distribution is actually one of the first things we do. But I'm including it last because it kind of builds on what we've done. Okay? So in this part, distribution is really, you're looking for parentheses, and we're multiplying each part of the parentheses by what's not in the parenthesis. Okay? So think of, you're trick-or-treating, right? And you go to house number 3, and here's you, little X. So house number 3 gives X some candy. House number 3 gives your friend number 2 some candy. Each person that went to that house got candy from number 3. Okay, so that's what distribution is. So when I do this, it's 3x plus 6. Now, I can tell you right now with 100% confidence, every year I've taught this part right here is always the part that's most commonly incorrect. Most people would have done 3x plus 2 because their friend didn't get candy from the neighbor. Don't be that friend. Don't be that neighbor either. Give everyone candy. Okay? Now, one thing that is important is that you, it does help. Even when I was taking advanced math classes, I would use parentheses to make sure I didn't skip any friends. Okay? And I'm using that as symbolism here for you guys. But I would make mistakes all the time. My airplane would crash. and I'd forget to multiply by one thing in a parenthesis like 5 steps from the end. Don't do that. Okay, every friend gets it. That is that, okay? And if I didn't say it, be sure every part of the parenthesis gets multiplied. All right, and you do that, this little thing, to show your work. Show your work, people. You might be doing, simple equations, but next year you got to put on your big boy pants, big girl pants, and like buckle up. And you got to show some work. Enough copying off each other. You can do this. All right, so now we're going to get to equations. One-step equation. Really easy, one rule. Do opposite of whatever the variable is doing. Whatever's happening to the variable, we do opposite the thing. So I'm going to give you an example with the same numbers doing different things. All right, and you use these examples in all the problems you have. All right, so we have x plus 2. What are we doing to x? We're adding 2. Well, what is the opposite of adding 2? We're going to subtract 2 from both sides. Okay, so we have x is equal to 6. Okay, second example, what's happening to x? We're subtracting 2 from x. So what do we do then? We're going to add 2 to x. And I know my boards suck because I'm not at school and I don't have it, but I'm doing the best I can. I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to find solutions, both in the problem and trying to help you guys. Okay? All right. What's happening to x in this one? It's getting multiplied by 2. What's the opposite of multiplying by 2? Divide. We divide by 2. Okay? Now, sometimes you get nice numbers. Sometimes you don't. So just trust your math. Trust your math. All right. What's happening to x? It's getting divided by 2. So what's the opposite of that? Multiplying by 2. So we're going to multiply this by 2. And we're going to multiply this by 2. Everything we've done is both sides of the equation. When you solve equations, if you do something to one side, and you got to do it to the other side too sometimes. Okay? So in this case, that's what's going on. So 8 times 2 is 16. So if we check the math here, I know this seems weird. What's 16 divided by 2? It's 8. It's 8. Okay? All right, last set of questions here. Now, we're going to get a little trickier. 2-step equations like this. Okay, so the first step, we want all the numbers away on the other side of the equal sign. We want all the girls on one side of the room. We want all the boys in another room. We want to separate you two. Okay? So this group of kids, we're going to separate and move in the other room, but when we do that, we have to do opposite of the number.